Twilight is a 2008 American vampire romantic fantasy film directed by Catherine Hardwicke from a screenplay by Melissa Rosenberg, based on the 2005 novel of the same name by Stephenie Meyer. It is the first installment in the Twilight saga film series. The film stars Kristen Stewart as Bella Swan, a teenage girl, and Robert Pattinson as Edward Cullen, a vampire. It focuses on the development of Bella and Edward's relationship and the subsequent efforts of Edward and his family to keep Bella safe from another coven of vampires. The project was in development for approximately 3 years at Paramount Pictures MTV Films, during which time a film adaptation that differed significantly from the novel was written. Summit Entertainment acquired the rights to the novel after the project's stagnant development. Rosenberg wrote a new adaptation of the novel shortly before the 2007 to 2008 Writers Guild of America strike and sought to be faithful to the novel's storyline. Principal photography began in March 2008 and took 44 days, 6 being completed in May 7. The film was shot in the states of Oregon 8 and Washington 9. Twilight premiered at the Mann Village Theater in Westwood, California on November 17, 2008 10 and was theatrically released in the United States on November 21 by Summit Entertainment. Despite receiving mixed reviews from critics, the film grossed $408.5 million worldwide. 5. It was released on DVD and Blu-ray on March 21, 2009, and became the most purchased DVD of the year. 11. The soundtrack was released on November 4, 2008. 12. The film was followed by 4 sequels: New Moon, 2009, Eclipse, 2010, Breaking Dawn, Part 1, 2011, and Breaking Dawn, Part 2, 2012. Plot: 17-year-old Bella Swan leaves Phoenix, Arizona and moves to Forks, a small town located on Washington State's Olympic Peninsula, to live with her father, Charlie, the town's police chief. Her mother, Renee, is remarried to Phil, a minor league baseball player. Bella becomes reacquainted with Jacob Black, a Native American teen who lives with his father, Billy, on the Quileute Indian Reservation near Forks. At school, she finds the mysterious and aloof Cullen siblings particularly intriguing. She is seated next to Edward Cullen in biology class, but he seems repulsed by her. When Bella is nearly struck by a van in the school parking lot, Edward instantaneously covers a distance of over 30 feet to put himself between her and the van, stopping it with only his hand. He refuses to explain his actions to her, warning her against befriending him. Jacob tells Bella about a long-standing animosity between the Cullens and the Quileutes. The Cullens are not allowed on the reservation. When Edward saves Bella again, this time from a gang, after research she concludes that he is a vampire. He eventually confirms this, explaining that he found her scent irresistible back in biology class and that the Cullens only consume animal blood. The pair fall in love and he introduces her to his vampire family. Carlisle Cullen, the patriarch, is a doctor at the Forks Hospital. Esme is his wife, and Alice, Jasper, Emmett, and Rosalie are their informally adopted children. The family's reaction to Bella is mixed, as some of the Cullens are concerned that the family's secret could be exposed. Edward and Bella's relationship is jeopardized when 3 nomadic vampires, James, Victoria, and Lauren, arrive, responsible for a series of deaths being investigated as animal attacks. James, a tracker vampire, is excited by Bella's scent and becomes obsessed with hunting her for sport. The Cullens protect Bella from the trio. Lauren chose to warn the Cullens about James, who in turn attempt to draw James away from Bella, but James manages to track her to Phoenix. She is there hiding with Jasper and Alice, and James tricks her into thinking he kidnapped her mother by luring her into her old ballet studio. James revealed the kidnapping was a ruse as he attacks Bella, infecting her with vampire venom. The Cullens arrive and kill James, decapitating and burning him, as Edward removes the venom from Bella's wrist, preventing her from becoming a vampire. In the aftermath, Edward accompanies an injured Bella to prom, where he refuses her request to transform her into a vampire. They are unaware that James' mate, Victoria, is watching them, plotting revenge for her lover's death. Cast. See also, List of Twilight cast members. Kristen Stewart as Bella Swan, a 17-year-old girl who moves to the small town of Forks, Washington from Phoenix, Arizona and falls in love with Edward Cullen, a vampire. Her life is endangered after James, a sadistic vampire, decides to hunt her. 13. Robert Pattinson as Edward Cullen, a 108-year-old vampire who was changed in 1918 and still appears to be 17. He is Bella's love interest and eventually falls in love with her. He can read minds, except for Bella's, along with superhuman speed. 13-14. Peter Facinelli as Carlisle Cullen, a compassionate 300-plus-year-old vampire who looks to be in his early 30s. He serves as the town's physician and is the Cullen family patriarch. 15. Elizabeth Reeser as Esme Cullen, Carlisle's vampire wife and the matriarch of the Cullen family. 16. Ashley Greene as Alice Cullen, Jasper Hale's mate, a vampire who can see the future based on decisions that people make. 16. Kellen Lutz as Emmett Cullen, physically the strongest vampire of the family. 16. Nikki Reed as Rosalie Hale, Emmett Cullen's mate, a vampire described as the most beautiful person in the world. She is hostile toward Bella throughout the film, worried that Edward's relationship with a human puts their clan at risk. 8. Jackson Rathbone as Jasper Hale, a Cullen family member who can manipulate emotions. He is the newest member of the Cullen family and thus has the most difficulty maintaining their vegetarian diet of feeding only on animal rather than human blood. 16. Billy Burke as Charlie Swan, Bella's father, and Forks chief of police. 17. Cam Gigandet as James Witherdale, the vicious member of a trio of nomadic vampires with an intention to kill Bella. He is Victoria's mate and a gifted tracker, due to his unparalleled senses. 8. Rachel Lefevre as Victoria Sutherland, James' mate who assists him and Laurent in causing havoc in the Olympic Peninsula. 8. Edi Gathegi as Laurent de Reben, leader of a trio of vampires wreaking havoc in the Olympic Peninsula and the most civilized of the trio. 18. Sarah Clark as Renee Dwyer, Bella's mother who lives in Arizona with her new husband, Phil. 18. Taylor Lautner as Jacob Black, an old childhood friend of Bella and a member of the Quileute tribe. 19. Christian Serratos as Angela Weber, one of Bella's new friends in Forks. 18. Michael Welch as Mike Newton, one of Bella's new friends who vie for her attention. 8. Anna Kendrick as Jessica Stanley, Bella's first friend in Forks. 13. Gregory Tyree Boyce as Tyler Crowley, another one of Bella's classmates, also vying for Bella's attention. He nearly hits Bella with his van. 20. Justin Chon as Eric Yorkie, another one of Bella's classmates who vies for her attention. 13. Solomon Trimble as Sam Yulee. Solomon Trimble was credited as Jacob's friend in the film, but was widely recognized as playing the part of Sam. 21, 22, 23, 24. Chris Hyatt as Embry Call. He was recognized as playing the part of Embry in the Twilight film, though his role was uncredited. 25. Gil Birmingham as Billy Black. Matt Bushell as Phil Dwyer. Jose Zuniga as Mr. Molina. Ned Bellamy as Waylon Forge. Ayanna Berkshire as Cora. Katie Powers as Waitress. Trish Egan as Ms. Cope. Production. Development. In early 2004, Greg Motoradian of Maverick Films, looking for young adult novels to adapt to film, received an unpublished manuscript of Twilight and began to read it. After reaching the scene where Bella Swan is saved by Edward Cullen from being hit by a car, Motoradian understood the appeal of the novel. He soon brought the manuscript to David Gale, then Executive Vice President of Paramount Pictures' MTV Films division, to propose a film adaptation, believing the novel to be tailor-made for the MTV brand's teen audience. 26 Gale, in turn, brought it to Paramount's then co-president of production, Karen Rosenfeld, who lobbied to option the rights to the novel. MTV Films eventually acquired the rights in April of the same year and later hired Mark Lord to write a script. 27 The screenplay that was subsequently developed was substantially different from its source material, being more action-oriented. According to Lord, he originally pitched his adaptation as a vampiric take on the play Romeo and Juliet, but MTV Films wanted to just put in some more action to advance it more and give something more for the male audience. They thought they were going to lose the male audience with too much of a romance. MTV Films was pleased with the script he delivered, which included, among many changes, the character of Bella Swan being a long-distance runner, cursing, using shotguns against vampires who killed her father, being turned into a vampire, and riding a jet ski while being chased by the FBI. 26 When talking about MTV Films' original script, author Stephenie Meyer said, "They could have filmed it and not called it Twilight because it had nothing to do with the book, and that's kind of frightening." 28. Following a change of management at Paramount Pictures, the studio's new president of production, Brad Weston, told Gale that he believed audiences were not interested in films about vampires and werewolves, after being involved with box office bomb Cursed at Dimension Films, and development stalled. 26-29 4:30 In January 2006, Paramount put Twilight into turnaround. Rosenfeld, who had left Paramount and came aboard Twilight as a producer, was determined to make the film and attempted to forge a co-production deal between Paramount and Fox 2000 Pictures, where she had a producing deal, but Fox 2000 did not agree with Paramount's terms. Rosenfeld later tried to generate interest at Fox Atomic, but Fox Atomic passed. In October 2006, Rosenfeld met with Eric Feig, then president of production of Summit Entertainment, and mentioned to him that, of all the projects she wished she could make, she thought Twilight had the biggest potential. After their meeting, Feig obtained a copy of the novel, read it, and passed it on to colleagues at Summit, who perceived it as an opportunity to launch a franchise. When Paramount Pictures let the rights to Twilight expire in April 2007, Summit acquired them, agreeing in contract with Meyer that their film adaptation would be more faithful to the novel than MTV Films' version. 30-27 31-32 16-33 26. Before even having the rights to Twilight, on the 2007 Sundance Film Festival, Feig talked with director Catherine Hardwicke, of whom he was a fan, about working with Summit Entertainment and sent her 5 scripts of films the studio was developing, including Mark Lord's draft of Twilight for MTV Films. Hardwicke did not like any of the scripts, but ended up curious about Twilight. She bought a copy of the novel and realized the script she had read had very little to do with the source material, which she soon began envisioning as a film. 26 Following Summit's acquisition of the rights, Hardwicke was set to direct the film and Melissa Rosenberg was hired to write the script in mid-2007. 34. Rosenberg developed an outline by the end of August and collaborated with Hardwicke on writing the screenplay during the following month. Rosenberg said Hardwicke was a great sounding board and had all sorts of brilliant ideas. I'd finish off scenes and send them to her, and get back her notes. 35. Due to the impending Writers Guild of America strike, Rosenberg worked full-time to finish the screenplay before October 31st. 35 In adapting the novel, she had to condense a great deal. Some characters from the novel were not featured in the screenplay, whereas some characters were combined into others. 36 Her intent all along was to stay true to the book, Rosenberg explained, and it has to do less with adapting it word for word and more with making sure the characters' arcs and emotional journeys are the same. 37. Hardwicke suggested the use of voiceover to convey Bella's internal dialogue. 35, since the novel is told from her point of view, and she sketched some of the storyboards during pre-production. 38. Adaptation from source material. The filmmakers behind Twilight worked to create a film that was as faithful to the novel as they thought possible when converting the story to another medium. Producer Greg Mooradian said, "It's very important to distinguish that we're making a separate piece of art that obviously is going to remain very, very faithful to the book. But at the same time, we have a separate responsibility to make the best movie you can make." 39. To ensure a faithful adaptation, Meyer was kept very involved in the production process, having been invited to visit the set during filming and even asked to give notes on the script and on a rough cut of the film. 40 of this process, she said, "It was a really pleasant exchange between me and the filmmakers from the beginning, which I think is not very typical. They were really interested in my ideas, 41, and they kept me in the loop, and with the script, they let me see it and said, 'What are your thoughts?' They let me have input on it, and I think they took 90% of what I said and just incorporated it right into the script." 40. Meyer fought for one line in particular, one of the most well-known from the book about the lion and the lamb, to be kept verbatim in the film. "I actually think the way Melissa Rosenberg wrote it sounded better for the movie, but the problem is that line is actually tattooed on people's bodies. But I said, you know, if you take that one and change it, that's a potential backlash situation." 40. Meyer was even invited to create a written list of things that could not be changed for the film, such as giving the vampires fangs or killing characters who do not die in the book, that the studio agreed to follow in the contract. 41. The consensus among critics is that the filmmakers succeeded in making a film that is very faithful to its source material. 42-43, with one reviewer stating that, with a few exceptions, Twilight the movie is unerringly faithful to the source without being hamstrung by it. 44. However, as is most often the case with film adaptations, differences do exist between the film and source material. Certain scenes from the book were cut from the film, such as a biology room scene where Bella's class does blood typing. Hardwicke explains, "Well, the book is almost 500 pages. You do have to do the sweetened condensed milk version of that. We already have 2 scenes in biology, the first time they're in there and then the second time when they connect. For a film, when you condense, you don't want to keep going back to the same setting over and over. So that's not in there." 45. The settings of certain conversations in the book were also changed to make the scenes more visually dynamic on screen, such as Bella's revelation that she knows Edward is a vampire. This happens in a meadow in the film instead of in Edward's car as in the novel. 45. A biology field trip scene is added to the film to condense the moments of Bella's frustration at trying to explain how Edward saved her from being crushed by a van. 39. The villainous vampires are introduced earlier in the film than in the novel. Rosenberg said you don't really see James and the other villains until the last quarter of the book, which really won't work for a movie. You need that ominous tension right off the bat. We needed to see them and that impending danger from the start. And so I had to create a backstory for them, what they were up to flesh them out a bit as characters. 35. Rosenberg also combined some of the human high school students, with Lauren Mallory and Jessica Stanley in the novel becoming the character of Jessica in the film, and a compilation of a couple of different human characters becoming Eric Yorkie. 36. About these variances from the book, Mooradian stated, "I think we did a really judicious job of distilling the book. Our greatest critic, Stephenie Meyer, loves the screenplay, and that tells me that we made all the right choices in terms of what to keep and what to lose. Invariably, you're going to lose bits and pieces that certain members of the audience are going to desperately want to see, but there's just a reality that we're not making Twilight, the book, the movie." 39. Casting. When they told me Rob was probably the one, I looked him up and thought, yeah, he can do a version of Edward. He's definitely got that vampire thing going on. And then, when I was on set and I got to watch him go from being Rob to shifting into being Edward, and he actually looked like the Edward in my head, it was a really bizarre experience. He really had it nailed. Twilight author Stephenie Meyer 30. Several actresses, including Lily Collins 46 and Jennifer Lawrence 47 screen tested for the role of Bella Swan, while Frances Bean Cobain turned down the opportunity to audition for the role. 48 Hardwicke desired to test Kristen Stewart, who she had seen in Into the Wild and became her first choice for the part. Stewart eventually agreed to meet Hardwicke while working on Adventureland, and Hardwicke visited her in Philadelphia with actor Jackson Rathbone, who was in contention to portray Edward Cullen, for an informal screen test that captivated the director. 26-4 After casting Stewart as Bella, Hardwicke had trouble finding an actor otherworldly enough to play Edward Cullen. Rathbone, Shiloh Fernandez, Ben Barnes, and Robert Pattinson were the final four up for the role. 49 Hardwicke did not initially choose Pattinson for Edward Cullen, with him arriving at her house in Venice, Los Angeles for a test, according to Hardwicke, kind of wild-looking with scraggly, black-dyed hair, and a stain on his shirt, while also having, according to Pattinson, a hairless, chubby body from drinking beer all day for a few months. 50 After an audition, however, where Pattinson kissed Stewart on Hardwicke's bed and fell out of it, he was selected. 26-51 For Hardwicke said, Kristen was like, "It's got to be Rob." She felt connected to him from the first moment. That electricity, or love at first sight, or whatever it is. Hardwicke gave him the part, as long as he got in shape and made a promise. "You've got to realize that Kristen is 17 years old," Hardwicke told him. "She's underage. You've got to focus, dude, or you're going to be arrested." I made him swear on a stack of Bibles. 51. Pattinson was unfamiliar with the book series prior to his test but read the books later on. 52 Meyer even allowed him to view a manuscript of the unfinished Midnight Sun, which chronicles the events in Twilight from Edward's point of view. 53 Fan reaction to Pattinson's casting as Edward was initially negative. Rachel Lefevre remarked that every woman had their own Edward that they had to let go of before they could open up to him, which they did. 52. Meyer was excited and ecstatic in response to the casting of the two main characters. 54 She had expressed interest in having Emily Browning and Henry Cavill cast as Bella and Edward, respectively, prior to pre-production. 55. Peter Facinelli was chosen to play Carlisle Cullen, though he was not the first choice by Summit, revealing, "Hardwicke liked me, but there was another actor that the studio was pushing for." 15. For unknown reasons, that actor was not able to play the part and Facinelli was selected in his place. 15 Elizabeth Reeser was hired as Esme Cullen, despite only knowing in the audition that the film was based on a novel. 56 Jackson Rathbone, who was in the final mix for Edward, was cast as Jasper Hale. The choice of Ashley Greene to portray Alice Cullen was the subject of fan criticism due to Greene being 7 inches, 18 centimeters, taller than her character as described in the novel. Meyer stated previously that Rachel Lee Cook resembled her vision of Alice. 57 Nikki Reed was cast as Rosalie Hale. Reed had previously worked with Hardwicke on 13, which they wrote together, and Lords of Dogtown. Reed commented, "I don't want to say it's a coincidence, because we do work well together, and we have a great history. I think we make good work, but it's more than the people that hire Hardwicke to direct a film of theirs have most likely seen her other work." 58. After an open casting call, Taylor Lautner was cast as Jacob Black. 59 Kellen Lutz was in Africa shooting the miniseries Generation Kill when the auditions for the character of Emmett Cullen were conducted. The role had already been cast by the time that pre-production ended in December 2007, but the actor who had been selected fell through. Lutz subsequently auditioned and was flown to Oregon, where Hardwicke personally chose him. 60 Rachel Lefevre was interested in pursuing a role in the film because Hardwicke was attached to the project as director. There was also the potential to explore a character, hopefully, over 3 films, and she wanted to portray a vampire. 61 She thought that vampires were basically the best metaphor for human anxiety and questions about being alive. 61. Christian Serratos initially auditioned for Jessica Stanley, but she fell totally in love with Angela after reading the novels and successfully took advantage of a later opportunity to audition for Angela Weber. 62 The role of Jessica Stanley went to Anna Kendrick, who got the part after 2 mix-and-match auditions with various actors. 63. Filming and post-production. Principal photography took 44 days 6 after more than a week of rehearsals 64 and completed on May 2, 2008. 7 Similar to her directorial debut 13, Hardwicke opted for an extensive use of handheld cinematography to make the film feel real. 1565 Meyer visited the production set 3 times and was consulted on different aspects of the story. 66 She also has a brief cameo in the film. 67 Cast members who portrayed vampires avoided sunlight to make their skin pale, though makeup was also applied for that effect, and wore contact lenses. We did the golden color because the Cullens have those golden eyes. And then, when we're hungry, we have to pop the black ones in, Fasanelli explained. 15 They also participated in rehearsals with a dance choreographer and observed the physicality of different panthera to make their bodily movements more elegant. 1557-68. Scenes were filmed primarily in Portland, Oregon. 8 Including at the Cullen House, a striking glass and wood residence. 69 Stunt work was done mainly by the cast. 70 The fight sequence between Gigandette and Pattinson's characters in a ballet studio, which was filmed during the first week of production, involved a substantial amount of wire work because the vampires in the story have superhuman strength and speed. 68 Gigandette incorporated mixed martial arts fighting moves in the sequence, which involved chicken and honey as substitutes for flesh. 71 Bella, the protagonist, is unconscious during these events, and since the novel is told from her point of view, such action sequences are illustrative and unique to the film. 52 Pattinson noted that maintaining one's center of gravity is difficult when doing wire work because you have to really fight against it as well as letting it do what it needs to do. 52. Lefebvre found the experience disorienting since the forward motion was out of her control. 52. Instead of shooting at Forks High School itself, scenes taking place at the school were filmed at Kalama High School 72 and Leotis v. McDaniel High School. 73 Other scenes were filmed in St. Helens 74 and Hardwicke conducted some reshooting in Pasadena, California, in August. 675 Twilight was originally scheduled to be theatrically released in the United States on December 12, 2008, but its release date was changed to November 21 after Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince was rescheduled for an opening in July 2009. 76 Two teaser trailers, as well as some additional scenes, were released for the film, as well as a final trailer, which was released on October 9. 77-78 A 15-minute excerpt of Twilight was presented during the International Rome Film Festival in Italy. 79 The film received a rating of PG-13 from the Motion Picture Association of America for some violence and a scene of sensuality. 80. After the film's finalization, Hardwicke published the Twilight Director's Notebook on March 17, 2009. 81. Music. Main article, Twilight, soundtrack. The score for Twilight was composed by Carter Burwell 82-83 with the rest of the soundtrack chosen by music supervisor Alexandra Patsavas. 84 Meyer was consulted on the soundtrack, which includes music by Muse and Linkin Park, bands she listened to while writing the novels. 85-86 The original soundtrack was released on November 4, 2008, by Chop Shop Records in conjunction with Atlantic Records. 12 It debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200. 87. Release. Box office. Twilight grossed over $7 million in ticket sales from midnight showings alone on November 21, 2008. 88 The film is 5th overall on Fandango's list of top advance ticket sales, outranked only by its sequel the following year, Star Wars, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, 2005, The Dark Knight, 2008, and Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, 2009. 88 It grossed $35.7 million on its opening day. 89 For its opening weekend in the United States and Canada, Twilight accumulated $69.6 million from 3,419 theaters at an average of $20,368 per theater. 90 The film grossed $192,769,854 in the United States and Canada, and $214,417,861 in international territories, for a total of $407,187,715. 5 Its opening weekend gross was the highest ever of a female-directed film, surpassing that of Deep Impact, 1998. 91. Critical reception. Based on 223 reviews collected by Rotten Tomatoes, the film has a rating of 48% and a weighted average score of 5.4/10. The website's critical consensus reads, "Having lost much of its bite transitioning to the big screen, Twilight will please its devoted fans, but do little for the uninitiated." 92. On Metacritic, it has a weighted mean score of 56 based on 38 reviews from film critics, indicating mixed or average reviews. 93 Audiences surveyed by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of A on an A+ to F scale. 94. New York press critic Armand White called the film a genuine pop classic, 95, and praised Hardwicke for turning Meyer's book series into a Bronte-esque vision. 96. Roger Ebert gave the film 2.5 stars out of 4 and wrote, "I saw it at a sneak preview. Last time I saw a movie in that same theater, the audience welcomed it as an opportunity to catch up on gossip, texting, and laughing at private jokes. This time the audience was rapt with attention." 97 In his review for the Los Angeles Times, Kenneth Turan wrote, "Twilight is unabashedly a romance. All the story's inherent silliness aside, it is intent on conveying the magic of meeting that one special person you've been waiting for. Maybe it is possible to be 13 and female for a few hours after all." 98 USA Today gave the film 2 out of 4 stars, and Claudia Puig wrote, "Meyer is said to have been involved in the production of Twilight, but her novel was substantially more absorbing than the unintentionally funny and quickly forgettable film." 99 Entertainment Weekly gave the film a B rating, and Owen Gleiberman praised Hardwicke's direction. "She has reconjured Meyer's novel as a cloudburst mood piece filled with stormy skies, rippling hormones, and understated visual effects." 100. Stewart's performance as Bella received mixed reviews. Claudia Puig of USA Today called her acting wooden and her facial expressions throughout the film blank, 101, while Owen Gleiberman of Entertainment Weekly praised her, calling her the ideal casting choice and thought she portrayed Bella's detachment, as well as her need to bust through it well. 102 Roger Ebert called Pattinson well chosen for Edward. 103 While Manala Dargis of the New York Times called him capable and exotically beautiful. 104 Both he and Taylor Lautner, who plays Jacob, were nominated for Best Male Breakthrough Performance at the 2009 MTV Movie Awards. The award ultimately went to Pattinson. 105. In 2025, it was one of the films voted for the Reader's Choice edition of the New York Times list of the 100 best movies of the 21st century, finishing at number 311. 106. Home media. Wikinews has related news. Twilight DVD sells 3 million copies in first day. The film was released on DVD in North America on March 21, 2009, through midnight release parties, and sold over 3 million units in its first day. 107 It was released on April 6, 2009, in the UK. 108 109 Bonus features include about 10 to 12 extended or deleted scenes, montages, and music videos, behind-the-scenes interviews, a making-of segment, and commentary featuring Hardwicke, Stewart, and Pattinson. 110 111 The Blu-ray disc edition of the film was released on March 21, 2009, in select locations, but was made more widely available at further retailers on May 5, 2009. 112 As of July 2012, the film has sold 11,242,519 units, earning $201,190,019. 113. The film and the next two installments of the Twilight saga were re-released as a triple feature with extended cuts on January 13, 2015. Twilight was released on 4K Blu-ray on October 23, 2018. 114. Video game. Main article, Seen It? Twilight. A film trivia video game developed by Screenlife Games and published by Konami for the Wii, Nintendo DS, PC, and iPhone was released alongside the second film. Accolades. Since its release, Twilight has received numerous nominations and awards. In January 2009, Carter Burwell was nominated for Film Composer of the Year by the International Film Music Critics Association. 115 Robert Pattinson won Bravo TV's A-List Award for A-List Breakout. 116 At the 2009 MTV Movie Awards, Pattinson, who was nominated alongside Taylor Lautner, also won an award for Male Breakthrough Performance. Decode was nominated for Best Song from a Movie, Twilight won an award for Best Movie, Kristen Stewart won for Best Female Performance. Stewart and Pattinson were awarded Best Kiss, and Pattinson and Cam Gigandet won an award for Best Fight. 118 Christian Serratos won a Young Artist Award for Best Performance in a Feature Film, Supporting Young Actress. 119 For the 2019 Choice Awards, held on August 9, the film and its actors received a combined total of 12 nominations, 9 of which the film won. 120 At the 2009 Scream Awards, the film was nominated for 9 awards, 4 of which it won. 121 The film won 2 Alma Awards for makeup and hair styling. 122 It also won the Public Choice Award at the World Soundtrack Awards, where Carter Burwell was also nominated for Composer of the Year. 123 Catherine Hardwicke received a Young Hollywood Award for her directing. 124 In addition, the film was nominated for Best Fantasy Film at the 35th Saturn Awards 125 and 2 Grammy Awards. 126. Extended Edition. In 2015, Lionsgate released an extended edition that was over 4 minutes longer. It edits into the movie scenes already released as deleted scenes on previous DVD releases. 127. Sequel. Main article, The Twilight Saga, New Moon. MTV reported in February 2008 that Summit Entertainment intended to create a series of at least 3 films based on Meyer's books. 13 The studio had optioned New Moon, the second book in the series, by October 2008 128 and confirmed their plans to make a film based on it November 22, 2008. 129 130 Because Catherine Hardwicke had wanted more preparation time than Summit's schedule for the production and release of the sequel would provide. 131 132 Chris Weitz was selected to direct it in December 2008. Kristen James Stewart born April 9, 1990, is an American actress and director. She has received various accolades, including a British Academy Film Award and a César Award, in addition to nominations for an Academy Award and a Golden Globe Award. Born and raised in Los Angeles to parents who both worked in the entertainment industry, Stewart first gained notice at age 12 for her role as the daughter of Jodie Foster's character in David Fincher's thriller Panic Room, 2002. After appearing in such films as Zathura, A Space Adventure, 2005, and Into the Wild, 2007, she achieved global stardom for starring as Bella Swan in the Twilight Saga film series, 2008 to 2012. It ranks among the highest-grossing film franchises and earned Stewart the BAFTA Rising Star Award in 2010. After starring in the fantasy film Snow White and the Huntsman, 2012, Stewart preferred independent productions to big-budget films for a few years. These included the dramas Camp X-Ray, 2014, Still Alice, 2014, and Equals, 2016. She was acclaimed for her performance in Olivier Assayas's drama film Clouds of Sils Maria, 2014, which won her the César Award for Best Supporting Actress. She reunited with Assayas in the supernatural thriller Personal Shopper, 2016, and made her directorial debut with the short film Come Swim, 2017. Stewart returned to mainstream Hollywood with leading roles in the action film Charlie's Angels, 2019, and the romantic comedy Happiest Season, 2020. Her portrayal of Diana, Princess of Wales in Pablo Larraín's biographical drama Spencer, 2021, earned her a nomination for the Academy Award for Best Actress. Early life. Stewart was born in Los Angeles, California on April 9, 1990. Her father, John Stewart, is a stage manager and television producer. Her mother, 2-3 Jules Mann Stewart, is a script supervisor and filmmaker. 1-4 Jules, an Australian native from Maroochydore, Queensland, had studied at the University of Sydney before moving to Hollywood at the age of 16. 5 Jules was adopted by a Jewish couple, Norma and Ben Ehrman, in 1953 in California. In a November 2019 interview, Stewart said that a DNA test had shown that one of her biological maternal grandparents was Ashkenazi Jewish. 6 Better source needed. Stewart has an older brother, Cameron B. Stewart, and 2 adopted brothers, Dana and Taylor. 7 In 2012, Stewart's mother filed for divorce after 27 years of marriage. 4. Stewart grew up in the San Fernando Valley. 1. She attended local schools until the 7th grade, and as she became more involved in acting, she continued her education by distance until graduating from high school. 8. 9. Since she was raised in a family who work as non-actors in the entertainment industry, Stewart thought she would become a screenwriter or a director, but never considered being an actor. She said, "I never wanted to be the center of attention. I wasn't that. I want to be famous, I want to be an actor, kid. I never sought out acting, but I always practiced my autograph because I love pens. I'd write my name on everything." 10. Career beginnings and breakthrough, 2000s. Stewart in 2007. Stewart began acting at age 8, after an agent saw her perform in her elementary school's Christmas play. 11. After auditioning for a year, she got her first role with a small, non-speaking part in the Disney Channel television film The 13th Year. 12. Her next film was The Flintstones in Viva Rock Vegas, where she played the ring toss girl. 12. She also appeared in the independent film The Safety of Objects, 2001, as the tomboy daughter of a troubled single mother, Patricia Clarkson. Stewart also played the tomboy, diabetic daughter of a divorced mother, Jodie Foster, in the thriller film Panic Room, 2002, directed by David Fincher. She was nominated for a Young Artist Award for her performance. 13. Following the success of Panic Room, Stewart was cast in another thriller, Cold Creek Manor, 2003, playing the daughter of Dennis Quaid and Sharon Stone's characters and receiving a Young Artist Award nomination for her performance. 13. At 13, she dropped out of school and switched to homeschooling. 14. At age 14, Stewart had her first starring role in the children's action comedy Catch That Kid, 2004, opposite Max Thieriot and Corbin Bleu. That year, Stewart also played the role of Lila in the thriller, Undertow, 2004. Stewart starred in the Lifetime/Showtime television film Speak, 2004, based on the novel by the same name by Laurie Halse Anderson. Stewart, aged 13 at the time of filming, played Melinda Sordino, a high school freshman who nearly stopped speaking after being raped. Her performance was widely praised. The New York Times said, "Ms. Stewart creates a convincing character full of pain and turmoil." 15. Stewart appeared in the fantasy-adventure film Zathura, A Space Adventure, 2005, playing the role of Lisa Budwing, the irresponsible older sister of two little boys. While playing a board game, they turn their house into a spacecraft hurtling uncontrollably in outer space. The film was praised by critics, but Stewart's performance did not draw much media attention. Her character is immobilized during most of the film. 16 The following year, she played the character Maya in Fierce People, 2006, directed by Griffin Dunne. After that film, she received the lead role of Jess Solomon in the supernatural thriller film The Messengers. Stewart appeared as teenager Lucy Hardwicke in the Land of Women, 2007, a romantic drama starring Meg Ryan and Adam Brody. That same year, Stewart had a small role in the Sean Penn-directed adaptation Into the Wild, portraying Tracy, a teenage singer who has a crush on young adventurer Christopher McCandless, played by Emile Hirsch. While Stephanie Zacharek of Salon.com considered her work a sturdy, sensitive performance, and the Chicago Tribune's Michael Phillips noted that she did vividly well with a sketch of a role, Variety critic Dennis Harvey said, "It's unclear whether Stewart means to be playing hippie chick Tracy as vapid, or whether it just comes off that way." 17-18-19. The film received Screen Actors Guild nomination for Outstanding Performance by a Cast in a Motion Picture. After Into the Wild, Stewart had a cameo appearance in Jumper and also appeared in What Just Happened, which was released in October 2008. 20 She co-starred in The Cake Eaters, an independent film that has been screened only at film festivals. The film received positive reviews. 21 Critic Bill Goody Kuntz from the Arizona Republic said that Stewart really shines. She excels at both aspects of the performance, giving Georgia a strength that defies any sort of pity one might feel for her, without letting us forget her vulnerability. 22. Stewart with Taylor Lautner, left, and Robert Pattinson, middle, at the 2012 San Diego Comic-Con. On November 16, 2007, Summit Entertainment announced that Stewart would play main character Bella Swan in the romantic fantasy film Twilight, based on Stephenie Meyer's novel of the same name. 23 Stewart was on the set of Adventureland when director Catherine Hardwicke visited her for an informal screen test, which captivated the director. 24 She starred alongside Robert Pattinson, who plays Edward Cullen, her vampire boyfriend. Stewart described her approach to the role as capturing that first awakening, that ownership of your body and desire. 25 Twilight was released in the US in November 2008. 26 Owen Gleiberman of Entertainment Weekly described her as the ideal casting choice and praised her for conveying Bella's detachment, as well as her need to bust through it, while Claudia Poog of USA Today criticized her acting for being wooden and lacking variety in her blank facial expressions. 27-28. She received praise for her role in Adventureland, 2009, a comedy-drama film written and directed by Greg Motola, and co-starring Jesse Eisenberg. Critic James Berardinelli said, "Stewart is more than merely appealing in this role, she makes Emma a fully realized woman, and some of the most intricate development results from what the camera observes in Stewart's eyes." 29. Kenneth Turan of the Los Angeles Times said Stewart was beautiful, enigmatic, and very experienced. 30 MSN Movies James Rocky stated, "Stewart's vulnerable, spooky power is used to nice effect." 31. Stewart reprised the role of Bella in a sequel to Twilight, titled New Moon. Jordan Mintzer from Variety called Stewart the heart and soul of the film and praised her for giving both weight and depth to dialogue. She makes Bella's psychological wounds seem like the real deal. 32. On the other hand, Manala Dargis from the New York Times said Stewart's lonely girl blues soon grow wearisome. 33 And Bill Goody Kuntz from the Arizona Republic stated Stewart is a huge disappointment. She sucks the energy right out of the film. 34 She reprised this role in a third film, Eclipse, which was released in June 2010. 35 Critics were warmer toward the film compared to its predecessors. 36. Continued Twilight success and dramatic roles, 2010s. Stewart starred in The Yellow Handkerchief, which debuted at the 2009 Sundance Film Festival and was released in theaters in 2010. She also starred alongside James Gandolfini in Welcome to the Rileys, which premiered at the 2010 Sundance Film Festival. That same year, Stewart portrayed rock star Joan Jett in The Runaways, a biographical film of the titular band from writer-director Floria Sigismondi. 37 Stewart met with Jett to prepare for the role and pre-recorded songs in a studio for the film. 38 Praising Stewart's performance, the Metro Times' Bill Holdship wrote, "It turns out that Stewart is actually really good at capturing Jett's icy, tough but cool girl swagger, adding the needed touches of vulnerability that transform it into a pretty terrific performance. Stewart is a genuine rock star here." 39. Also, A.O. Scott of the New York Times noted a watchful and unassuming Stewart gives the movie its spine and soul. 40. At the 63rd British Academy Film Awards in February 2010, Stewart won the BAFTA Rising Star Award. 41. Stewart at the UK premiere of the Twilight Saga, Breaking Dawn, Part 2 in 2012. Stewart topped Forbes' list of Hollywood's best actors for the buck in 2011. 42. She was listed as the 13th highest earning entertainment industry figure in Vanity Fair's Hollywood's Top 40 list in the same year, with an estimated earning of $28.5 million for her film roles during the year. 43. Forbes also ranked her as the world's highest paid actress in 2012, with total earnings of $34.5 million. 44. The fourth installment in the Twilight film series, Breaking Dawn, Part 1, was released on November 18, 2011. The Village Voice's Dan Conis said Stewart beautifully underplays the role. 45. While Emma Dibdin of Total Film described the relationship between Stewart and Pattinson's characters as like a sad, destructive charade despite the actors' chemistry. 46. On January 13, 2012, she became the face of a new unnamed Balenciaga perfume. In June, its name was promoted as Flora Botanica. 47. Stewart starred as Snow White in the film Snow White and the Huntsman, 2012. 48. Stewart appeared as Mary Lou in On the Road, the film adaptation of Jack Kerouac's novel of the same name. 49. She concluded the role of Bella Swan in Breaking Dawn, Part 2, released in November 2012. The film attracted a mixed critical response but found success during its box office run, grossing $830 million worldwide and becoming the 81st highest grossing film. 50-51. The Twilight film series, dubbed the Twilight Saga, generated $3.32 billion worldwide, making it one of the highest grossing film franchises. 52-53. According to Forbes, Stewart was the world's highest paid actress in 2012, with total earnings of $34.5 million. She earned $12.5 million each for the last two installments in the Twilight series, including royalties. 44. On December 11, 2013, Chanel announced Stewart as their new face for a Western-inspired fashion collection. The campaign was shot by Karl Lagerfeld and released online in May 2014. 54. In 2014, Balenciaga released a new fragrance, Rosa Botanica, with Stewart remaining the face of the brand. 55. She was ranked number 3 on Forbes' highest paid actress in 2013, with a total earning of $22 million, number 10 in 2014 with $12 million, and number 9 in 2015 with $12 million. Camp X-Ray, her first film of 2014, premiered at the 2014 Sundance Film Festival on January 17. 56. While it generated mixed reviews from critics, Stewart's performance as a young soldier stationed at Guantanamo Bay detention camp received praise. 57. David Rooney of The Hollywood Reporter called it her best screen work to date, playing the role of an inexperienced military guard. 58. While Zan Brooks of The Guardian said, It's a role that reminds us what a fine performer she was in the likes of Into the Wild and Adventureland. 59. In 2014, she appeared in the music video for Jenny Lewis' Just One of the Guys, and in the New York Times short movie 9 Kisses. Stewart next starred alongside Juliette Binoche and Chloe Grace Moretz in Olivier Assayas's Clouds of Sils Maria. The film premiered at the 2014 Cannes Film Festival. 60-61 Her performance in the film was critically acclaimed. 62-63 Todd McCarthy of The Hollywood Reporter said that Stewart's habitual low-keyed style, which can border on the monotone, functions as effectively underplayed contrast. 64. Peter DeBrugge of Variety praised Stewart's spontaneous, agitated energy that makes her the most compellingly watchable American actress of her generation. 65. Robbie Collin of the Daily Telegraph described her portrayal as sharp and subtle, knowable, and then suddenly distant, and highlighted the brilliant lightness of touch in her approach to the film's twist. 66 For the performance, Stewart won the César Award for Best Supporting Actress, becoming the first American actress to receive a nomination in 30 years. She is the second American winner after Adrienne Brody, who won the César Award for Best Actor in 2003. 67-68 That same year, Stewart appeared alongside Julianne Moore in Still Alice, a drama film that premiered at the 2014 Toronto International Film Festival. Critics commended her performance in the film. 62 Peter Travers of Rolling Stone called her wonderfully vibrant and contentious and said, "Even when Still Alice sometimes slips into sentiment, Moore and Stewart are funny, fierce and glorious." 69. Stewart at the 2016 Cannes Film Festival. Stewart appeared in Tim Blake Nelson's Anesthesia, an indie drama about a group of New Yorkers, which was released on January 8, 2016, by IFC Films. 70 She co-starred with Jesse Eisenberg again in American Ultra, 2015. 71 That same year, she starred in Once and Forever, which was directed by Karl Lagerfeld. Stewart co-starred along with Nicholas Hoult in Drake Doremus' futuristic love story Equals, which was released on July 15, 2016. 72 Stewart was confirmed to join Kelly Reichardt's film Certain Women in 2015. The film was released on October 14, 2016. 73 She starred in the Woody Allen film Café Society, opposite Steve Carell and Jesse Eisenberg, marking her third collaboration with the latter. 74 Gaining mixed reviews upon its premiere, the film was released in July 2016. 75 Stewart also reunited with Clouds of Sils Maria director Olivier Assayas to headline his film Personal Shopper, a ghost story that takes place in the fashion industry. 76 She also co-starred in Ang Lee's war drama Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk 77, which was released on November 11, 2016. In December 2016, Stewart appeared in the official music video for the Rolling Stones single Ride 'Em On Down. 78 In 2016, Stewart became the youngest actress to be an honoree at the New York Film Festival. 79 In the same year, Stewart was also an honoree at ELLE's Women in Hollywood Awards alongside Amy Adams, Felicity Jones, Anna Kendrick, Aya Naomi King, Helen Mirren, and Lupita Nyong'o. 80. In May 2016, it was announced that Stewart would make her directorial debut with a short film for the female-focused digital publisher Refinery 29. It would be part of their Shatterbox anthology. 81 The short film, titled Come Swim, had its world premiere at the 2017 Sundance Film Festival. 82 In June, Stewart appeared in a video ad campaign for Chanel. 83 In 2017, Stewart co-authored a computer science preprint about the use of neural net techniques in the making of her short film Come Swim. 84 That same year, Stewart hosted Saturday Night Live for the first time with musical guest Alessia Cara. 85 And was invited to join the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. 86. In 2018, Stewart appeared opposite Chloe Sevigny in Lizzie, about Lizzie Borden, directed by Craig William McNeil, which had its world premiere at the 2018 Sundance Film Festival. 8788 It was released on September 14, 2018, by Saban Films and Roadside Attractions. 8990 The film received mixed reviews from critics. 91 She also starred in J.T. Leroy, a biopic about Laura Albert, alongside Laura Dern and Diane Kruger. 92-93 She also appeared in the music video for Interpol's If You Really Love Nothing. 94-95 She also served as a member of the jury for the official competition of the 2018 Cannes Film Festival. 96. Resurgence, 2020s. Stewart at the 2023 Berlin International Film Festival. Stewart starred as actress Jean Seberg in Seberg, directed by Benedict Andrews. 97 It premiered at the 76th Venice International Film Festival in August 2019. 98 While the film received mixed reviews, Stewart's performance received praise. 99 Time magazine declared her performance the 10th best performance of 2019. 100 Stewart returned to mainstream Hollywood with starring roles in the action comedy film Charlie's Angels, 2019, and the science fiction film Underwater, 2020. Critics were mixed in their reviews of both films, but Stewart's performance in the former was well received. 101-102 Stewart wrote and directed a short film titled Crickets, as part of the anthology series Homemade, which follows stories from 18 filmmakers from around the world during the COVID-19 pandemic isolation. It was co-produced by Pablo Larraín's production company, Fabula. The series was released on Netflix on June 30, 2020. 103 Stewart later starred opposite Mackenzie Davis in Happiest Season, an LGBT holiday romance film directed by Clea Duvall, which was released on November 25, 2020. 104-105. In June 2020, Stewart was announced as having been cast as Diana, Princess of Wales in Pablo Larraín's biographical drama film Spencer, which chronicles Diana's decision to divorce Charles, Prince of Wales. 106 She worked with a dialect coach and studied Diana's posture for the part. 107 Describing Diana as someone who sticks out as a sparkly house on fire, Stewart said she felt more free and alive and able to move in the role than she did in any of her previous projects. 108 The film premiered at the 78th Venice International Film Festival in September 2021 and released in November that same year. 109-110 Critics lauded Stewart's portrayal of Diana, with Jonathan Romney of Screen Daily describing it as brittle, tender, sometimes playful, and not a little uncanny, and Kyle Buchanan of the New York Times deeming her casting a meta-stroke of genius. 111 Stewart received nominations for the Academy Award for Best Actress and Golden Globe Award for Best Actress in a Motion Picture, Drama for her performance. 112-113. Stewart played an investigator in the film Crimes of the Future. It premiered at the 2022 Cannes Film Festival. 114 In his review, Todd McCarthy of Deadline Hollywood described Stewart's portrayal as oddly nervous. 115 In 2023, Stewart was selected as jury president for the competition section of 73rd Berlin International Film Festival held in February. 116 In 2024, Stewart starred in writer-director Rose Glass's romantic thriller Love Lies Bleeding. 117 She also starred with Michael Angarano and Michael Cera in Angarano's road film Sacramento. 118. Filming began in February 2025 on The Wrong Girls, in which she has a starring role, and also co-wrote and produced. 119 She is set to star in the movie Flesh of the Gods. 120-121. Stewart will next write and direct The Chronology of Water, a film adaptation of writer Lydia Yunavich's memoir, which will mark her first feature film directorial. 25-122. Public image. Stewart ranked number 7 on Ask Men's list of top 99 women for 2013. 123 Glamour UK named her the best dressed woman in 2012, 2013, and 2016. 124 125 126 In 2020, Stewart received the Actress of the Decade award by the Hollywood Critics Association. 127. Personal life. Stewart resides in Los Angeles. 128 In 2017, she stated that she is bisexual, saying, "You're not confused if you're bisexual. It's not confusing at all. For me, it's quite the opposite." 129. In 2019, Stewart stated that she had been advised not to be affectionate with her girlfriend in public, in order to land mainstream roles. She said, "I don't want to work with people like that." 130. Stewart identifies as a feminist. 131 She has echinophobia, the fear of horses. 132. Stewart dated Anton Yelchin when they were filming Fierce People. She described him as her first heartbreak. 133 After their split, Stewart dated her Speak co-star Michael Angareno from 2005 to early 2009. 134 135. Stewart and screenwriter Dylan Meyer at the 27th Critics' Choice Awards. In mid-2009, Stewart became romantically linked to her Twilight co-star Robert Pattinson. In July 2012, Stewart was photographed with her Snow White and the Huntsman director Rupert Sanders, revealing an affair. The day the photos were released, Sanders, who was 19 years her senior and married at the time, issued a public apology for the affair, as did Stewart. 136 The media backlash from the revelation caused a large emotional toll on Stewart. 137 Stewart said the affair happened during a self-destructive moment in her life and called it a really traumatic period in my early 20s that kick-started something in me that was a bit more feral. 138. Pattinson and Stewart split, later reconciling in October 2012. The pair eventually broke up in May 2013. 139. In mid-2013, Stewart started dating visual effects producer Alicia Cargill. 140 She briefly dated French singer Soko in the spring of 2016, before she resumed dating Cargill in mid-2016. 141 Stewart briefly dated musician Saint Vincent in late 2016. 142 From late 2016, she was in a relationship with New Zealand model Stella Maxwell until their breakup in late 2018. 143 Stewart has been in a relationship with screenwriter Dylan Meyer since August 2019, and stated in November 2021 that she and Meyer were engaged. 144 The couple got married in an intimate ceremony in Los Angeles on April 20, 2025. 145. Charity work. In 2012, Stewart signed and donated the dress she wore to the premiere of the Twilight saga, Breaking Dawn, Part 2 to a charity buzz auction benefiting the Robin Hood Foundation's Sandy Relief Fund, which provides long-term support to those affected by Hurricane Sandy. 146 In 2016, she participated in building a school in Nicaragua through the nonprofit Build On, with the goal being to give children the opportunity to become educated in a safe space and to break the cycle of poverty and illiteracy. 147 The following year, she raised $500,000 for Hurricane Sandy relief by meeting with an unnamed Middle Eastern prince for 15 minutes. Robert Douglas Thomas Pattinson, born May 13, 1986, is an English actor. Known for starring in both major studio productions and independent films, he often portrays eccentric characters across a diverse range of genres. Pattinson has been ranked among the world's highest-paid actors, and his works have grossed over $4.7 billion worldwide. In 2010, Time included him in its list of the 100 most influential people in the world, and he was also featured in the Forbes Celebrity 100. Born and raised in London, Pattinson started acting at age 13 in a London theatre club. He made early screen appearances in supporting roles, including in Vanity Fair, 2004, and played Cedric Diggory in the fantasy film Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, 2005, before making his debut as a leading actor in The Haunted Airman, 2006. Pattinson achieved global recognition as Edward Cullen in the Twilight saga film series. Its 5 films released yearly between 2008 and 2012 each were among the highest-grossing films of their respective release years, and collectively grossed over $3.3 billion worldwide. Pattinson also led the romantic dramas Remember Me, 2010, and Water for Elephants, 2011. Pattinson subsequently began working in independent films from auteur directors. He was praised for his performances in David Cronenberg's drama Cosmopolis, 2012, James Gray's adventure drama The Lost City of Z, 2016, the Safdie brothers crime drama Good Time, 2017, Claire Denis's science fiction drama High Life, 2018, and Robert Eggers' psychological horror The Lighthouse, 2019. Pattinson then returned to big-budget mainstream cinema, starring as a spy handler in Christopher Nolan's thriller Tenet, 2020, portraying the titular superhero in Matt Reeves' superhero film The Batman, 2022, and playing an expendable astronaut in Bong Joon-ho's science fiction film Mickey 17, 2025. Pattinson has also contributed vocals to several film soundtracks. He is involved in philanthropy, supporting organizations such as the Go campaign. Pattinson began modeling as a child and has served as the face of Dior Homme fragrance since 2013. Labeled as a sex symbol by the media, he is frequently called one of the most attractive actors. People included Pattinson on its list of the sexiest men alive in 2008 and 2009. He has been in a relationship with singer and actress Suki Waterhouse since 2018, with whom he has a child. Early life. Rode in front of houses by a beach. Barnes, where Pattinson was born and raised. Robert Douglas Thomas Pattinson I was born in the Barnes district of London, England, on May 13, 1986. 345 His father, Richard, owned a business importing vehicles from the United States, while his mother, Claire, worked at a modeling agency. 6 Pattinson has 2 older sisters, Victoria and Elizabeth. 7-8 At the age of 4, he began attending Tower House Boys Preparatory School and developed an interest in playing piano and guitar. 9 By the age of 6, Pattinson was participating in amateur performances. He secured his first role in a play titled Spell for a Rhyme, written by one of his teachers, and later appeared in his school's adaptation of William Golding's novel Lord of the Flies, 1954. 9. As a child, Pattinson was described as disorganist, resistant to completing homework, and generally exhibited a lackadaisical attitude. 10 His sisters often dressed him up as a girl, creating a female persona they named Claudia. 11-12 In his leisure time, he enjoyed playing football, video games, and watching television shows such as Sharky and George, Doctor Who and Hammerman. 13 At the age of 12, Pattinson was expelled from Tower House for shoplifting pornographic magazines. 14-15 Following this, his parents enrolled him at the Harrodean School, on Lonsdale Road near the family home. 16 Pattinson excelled in English studies, which he described as his favorite subject. 17 As a teenager, he worked as a photo model for British fashion brands and magazines and as a fashion designer. 18 19 20 In his late teens, he pursued music by performing acoustic guitar sets at open mic nights in pubs around London. He sang original compositions either solo under the stage name Bobby Duppy or with his band, Bad Girls. 11. Pattinson initially considered a career in music or studying speech writing at university but never thought about pursuing acting. A teacher once advised him against joining the school drama club, believing he was not suited for the creative arts. 21-22 At the age of 13, Pattinson joined the Barnes Theatre Company, a local amateur theatre group, after his father encouraged him to participate to help overcome his shyness. 2317 After working backstage, he auditioned for the play Guys and Dolls and secured his first role as a Cuban dancer with no lines. 2425 In the following production, Our Town, he played the lead role of George Gibbs. 26 During this performance, a talent agent in the audience noticed him, leading Pattinson to begin pursuing professional acting opportunities. 5 He went on to appear in stage productions such as Macbeth, Anything Goes and Tess of the D'Urbervilles. 27 Pattinson initially intended to go to university, but filming for Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire conflicted with his schedule. 28 Around this time, he shared a flat in Soho with his childhood friend and fellow actor Tom Sturridge. 29 Career 2004 to 2007, Career Beginnings. Pattinson's first film role was in Myra Nair's 2004 costume drama film Vanity Fair, an adaptation of a novel by William Makepeace Thackeray in which he portrayed the son of Becky Sharp. 29 30 31 However, his scenes were deleted from the final cut and are only available in the DVD version of the film. Reflecting on the experience, Pattinson stated, "My first job I was playing Reese Witherspoon's son and I hadn't done any acting in school. I wasn't in a drama school or anything. I'd done one amateur play and you end up doing a film with Reese Witherspoon." 30 That year, Pattinson had a more prominent role in the television film Dark Kingdom, The Dragon King alongside Max von Sydow and Julian Sands. 32 Directed by Uli Edel, the film follows Siegfried, played by Benno Furman, a young blacksmith who slays a dragon and falls in love with Queen Brunhild, played by Kristanna Loken. Pattinson portrays Giselher, the younger brother of King Gunther and Princess Kriemhild, who looks up to Siegfried as a demigod. 33 In 2005, Pattinson was cast as Cedric Diggory in the fantasy film Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, directed by Mike Newell. 34-35 According to Newell, Cedric exemplified all that you would expect the Hogwarts champion to be. Robert was born to play the role. He's quintessentially English with chiseled public schoolboy good looks. 36 Pattinson learned to scuba dive in preparation for the role. 37 For his performance, he was named the 2005 British Star of Tomorrow by the Times. 38 and was also referred to as the next Jude Law. 39-40 The film grossed nearly $897 million worldwide, making it the highest-grossing film of 2005. 41-42 In 2006, Pattinson starred in Chris Duerlacher's The Haunted Airman, a psychological thriller that aired on BBC 4 on October 31. 43 He played a World War II pilot who is shot, left paralyzed and suffers from severe shell shock, eventually descending into madness. 44 Pattinson himself described the role as his best acting experience. 44 His performance received positive reviews, with the stage saying that he portrayed the airman of the title with a perfect combination of youthful terror and world-weary cynicism. 45 Pattinson then appeared in a supporting role as Daniel in the 2007 film The Bad Mother's Handbook, a one-off television drama adapted from a novel by Kate Long. In the film, he portrayed a shy young man who develops feelings for a girl struggling with issues after being dumped by her former boyfriend and experiencing difficulties with her mother. 46. 2008 to 2013, The Twilight Saga and worldwide recognition. Pattinson smiling with a black coat. Pattinson at a photo call for The Twilight Saga, New Moon in 2009. In 2008, Pattinson played his first leading role as Art in the film How to Be, directed by Oliver Irving. 47-48 In the film, Art, after being dumped by his girlfriend, moves back in with his parents and convinces a Canadian self-help guru to relocate to London to help him rebuild his life. Irving recalled Pattinson's audition, saying, "Robert walked in, forgot his lines and just started improvising, which was exactly what I wanted. He's a really down-to-earth guy." 49 Pattinson himself enjoyed filming the movie, stating that he loved the script and found it very different from everything else he had read. 49 That same year, Pattinson portrayed Salvador Dali in Little Ashes, 2008. 50 He was originally considered for the role of Federico Garcia Lorca, Dali's lover. 50 But the part ultimately went to Javier Beltran. 51 The film mostly received negative reviews. The Toronto Star's Greg Quill stated that even cinematographer Adam Sashitsky's richly textured and resonantly toned cityscapes and rural scenes can't make up for a flawed script and weak performances in what might have been a powerful historical drama. 52 In 2008, Pattinson starred alongside Kristen Stewart as Edward Cullen in the romantic fantasy Twilight, based on Stephenie Meyer's 2005 novel of the same name. 53 54 55 Approximately 3,000 men submitted resumes for the role of Cullen, many of whom auditioned. Director Catherine Hardwicke said that Pattinson had everything they needed, that angular face and kind of mysterious Edward aura. 56 According to Pattinson, his performance in the film was largely influenced by Stewart's. 57 He adopted an American accent for the role and wore contact lenses. 58 In the film, Bella, portrayed by Stewart, faces danger from James, a vampire determined to kill her and drink her blood, leading Cullen, Bella's vampire lover, to become embroiled in a battle with James. 59 While the film received mixed reviews, critics widely praised his chemistry with Stewart. The New York Times' Manala Dargis described Pattinson as a capable and exotically beautiful actor. 60 While Roger Ebert believed he was well chosen for the role. 61 Pattinson presented at the 81st Academy Awards in February 2009, he was initially set to appear with Stewart, who declined. 62 He played Richard in Daisy Gillies' film The Summer House, 2009. The story follows Richard, Jane's, played by Talia Riley, ex-boyfriend, as he travels to France to try to win back her love after cheating on her. 4963 The short film was later re-released as part of an anthology titled Love and Distrust, 2010, which features 5 short films exploring the lives of 8 individuals from different backgrounds on their journey to find contentment. 64 Revolver Entertainment released Rob's Essayed, 2009, a documentary about Pattinson's life and rise to fame. 65 Pattinson reprised his role as Cullen in the Twilight sequel, The Twilight Saga, New Moon, which was released in November 2009. 66-67 The film grossed a record-breaking $142.8 million in its opening weekend and earned a total of $711 million worldwide, making it the 7th highest grossing film of 2009. 68-69-70 Bill Goody Kuntz of the Arizona Republic mentioned that Pattinson's actually not in the film that much, but he does his best when he's around. 71 While the Washington Post's Michael O'Sullivan praised his acting as uniformly strong. 72 The film earned Pattinson 3 MTV Movie Awards at the 2010 ceremony. 73 Pattinson smiling behind a microphone. Pattinson at San Diego Comic-Con in 2012. In 2010, Pattinson executive produced and starred in the coming-of-age drama film Remember Me. 74 Portraying Tyler Hawkins. 75 Directed by Alan Coulter, the film follows a young couple navigating their relationship in the aftermath of a family tragedy. 76 Pattinson's role in the film received mixed reviews from critics. 77-78 That same year, he reprised his role as Edward Cullen in the Twilight Saga, Eclipse, 2010, which emerged as the 6th highest grossing film of that year, making over $698.4 million. 79-80 In 2011, Pattinson portrayed Jacob Jankowski in Water for Elephants, a film adaptation of Sarah Gruen's 2006 novel, in which he reunited with Witherspoon. 81-82 While the film received mixed reviews, 83 Pattinson's performance garnered praise. Times Richard Corliss described it as star quality. 84 Pattinson reprised his role as Edward Cullen in the Twilight Saga, Breaking Dawn, Part 1, 2011. 85. The film grossed $712 million worldwide, which made it the fourth highest grossing film of 2011. 86. But received mixed to negative reviews from critics. 87. Pattinson starred as Georges Duroy in a 2012 film adaptation of the 1885 novel Belle Ami. 88. 89. Pattinson starred in the film adaptation of the novel Cosmopolis, directed by David Cronenberg. 90. The film competed for the Palme d'Or at the 2012 Cannes Film Festival. 91. And received generally positive reviews. 92. 93. With Pattinson's performance earning particular acclaim. Robbie Collin of the Daily Telegraph hailed it as a sensational performance, stating that Pattinson portrays the character Eric Packer like a human caldera, stony on the surface, with volcanic chambers of nervous energy and self-loathing churning deep below. 93. Entertainment Weekly's Owen Gleiberman said that Pattinson, pale and predatory even without his pasty white vampire makeup, delivered his lines with frigid pensées and rhythmic confidence. 94. Pattinson reprised his role as Edward Cullen for the final time in the Twilight saga, Breaking Dawn, Part 2, 2012. 95. 96. The film became the highest grossing installment of the Twilight series and the sixth highest grossing film of 2012, earning over $829 million worldwide. 97. 69. 2014 to 2019, Independent Films. Pattinson talking while wearing sunglasses. Pattinson at the 2014 Cannes Film Festival. In May 2014, two of Pattinson's films debuted at the 2014 Cannes Film Festival. 98. Pattinson starred in David McCode's futuristic western The Rover, alongside Guy Pearce and Scoot McNairy. 99. He traveled to Australia to portray the role of Reynolds, spending 7 weeks filming. The film is set in the outback a decade after an economic collapse. Pattinson's character is a young, naive American man who is abandoned by his brother following a failed robbery. 100. Variety's Scott Foundas praised Pattinson's career-redefining performance, as well as his convincing Southern accent and understated dignity in a role that could have been overly sentimental. 101. Next, Pattinson reunited with Cronenberg for the satirical drama Maps to the Stars. 102. 103. He portrayed Jerome Fontana, a struggling limousine driver and actor who aspires to be a screenwriter. 104. Cronenberg thought casting Pattinson was an easy decision to make, praising him as extremely inventive. 105. The film was positively received by critics. Robbie Collin described Pattinson's performance as winningly played. 106. He starred in Werner Herzog's biographical film Queen of the Desert, 2015, an adaptation of Gertrude Bell's life story, starring alongside Nicole Kidman and James Franco. 107. 108. Pattinson portrayed T.E. Lawrence, also known as Lawrence of Arabia. 109. Jeffrey McNabb of The Independent described his performance as comic and a very long way removed from Peter O'Toole, stating that Pattinson played Lawrence as a sharp-tongued, sardonic figure who can see through the pretensions of his bosses and colleagues. 110. David Rooney of The Hollywood Reporter called Pattinson's role brief but significant and highlighted the easy camaraderie in his scenes with Kidman. 111. He next starred in Anton Corbijn's biographical drama Life, 2015, based on the life of actor James Dean. 112. 107. Set in the 1950s, Pattinson played Dennis Stock, a photographer who became friends with Dean after traveling with him through Los Angeles, Indiana and New York. 113. Guy Lodge of Variety called his performance a sly turn. 114. While David Rooney, writing for The Hollywood Reporter, thought that Pattinson gave arguably the most fully rounded performance. 115. In late 2015, Pattinson starred in The Childhood of a Leader, the directorial debut of Brady Corbett, alongside Berenice Bejo and Stacey Martin. 116. 117. Pattinson took on dual roles in the film, first as Charles Marker, a reporter in Germany during World War I, and later as the adult version of the leader. 119 Peter Bradshaw of The Guardian described his performance as elegant. 120 and Screen International's Lee Marshall praising the role as excellent. 121 In 2016, Pattinson appeared in Plan B Entertainment's The Lost City of Z, directed by James Gray. 123 The film premiered in August 2016 at the New York Film Festival. 125 Pattinson had been cast as British explorer Corporal Henry Costin in November 2013. 126 Set in the 1920s, the film follows British surveyor Percy Fawcett, who disappears in the Amazon rainforest while searching for a mythical city. 127 For the role, Pattinson grew a thick beard and lost nearly 35 pounds, 16 kilograms. 128 Though the film was a box office bomb. 129 Us Weekly writer Mara Rainstein thought that Pattinson's performance in the film was compelling. 130 While The Guardian thought that Pattinson was considerably more interesting to watch, commenting that the viewer may find themselves wishing that his character, rather than the dashing but dull Fawcett, was the focus of the film. 131 Pattinson with a buzz cut looking to his left with a slight smirk. Pattinson at the Deauville American Film Festival in 2017. Pattinson next starred in the Safdie brothers' neo-exploitation thriller Good Time, 2017, as Connie Nichols, a bank robber navigating the criminal underworld of Queens, New York. 133 The film premiered in competition at the 2017 Cannes Film Festival. 134 Pattinson's performance was described as a career peak by Variety's Guy Lodge. 135 and his career best by Eric Cohn from IndieWire. 136 David Rooney of The Hollywood Reporter compared Pattinson's portrayal to Al Pacino's performance as Sonny Wurtzik in Dog Day Afternoon, 1975. Ultimately describing it as his most commanding performance to date. 137 For his role, Pattinson earned his first Independent Spirit Award nomination for Best Male Lead. 138 While promoting Good Time, Pattinson wrote and starred in a short film for GQ titled Fear and Shame. Filmed on the streets of New York, the piece follows Pattinson, playing himself, as he navigates the city's bustling environment, attempting to buy a hot dog while evading the media and fans. 140 The Zellner Brothers' Western comedy Damsel, 2018, marked Pattinson's return to comedy for the first time since How to Be. 142 He portrayed Samuel Alabaster, an eccentric cowboy embarking on a journey west in search of his kidnapped fiancée. 143 His performance received positive reviews, with Dana Schwartz from Entertainment Weekly describing it as so delightfully unhinged that it harkens back Jake Gyllenhaal in Okja. 144 Pattinson's second and final film of 2018 was Claire Denis's sci-fi drama High Life, set in space and centered on a group of criminals sent on a mission toward a black hole. 146 Dennis initially considered Philip Seymour Hoffman for the lead role, but after recognizing Pattinson's dedication and enthusiasm to collaborate, she cast him instead. 147 Pattinson played Monty, a reluctant father who raises his daughter alone as their spaceship continues its journey into deep space. 149 Screen International's Alan Hunter praised Pattinson as the most dominant and engaging presence in the film. 150 While Jason Bailey of The Playlist described it as another scorching Pattinson performance, praising his compelling portrayal of the character's menace and defiance. 151 Pattinson's first role in 2019 was in Robert Eggers' black and white psychological horror film The Lighthouse, set on a remote New England island in the 1890s. 153 The film premiered in the Director's Fortnight section at the 2019 Cannes Film Festival, earning good reviews for both its storytelling and Pattinson's performance. 155 In his review for The Guardian, Bradshaw described Pattinson's performance as mesmeric and a sledgehammer punch that just gets better and better. 156 He earned his second nomination for the Independent Spirit Award for Best Male Lead. 157 Pattinson's next two films premiered at the 2019 Venice Film Festival. 158 He first starred in The King, his second collaboration with Micode, and an adaptation of William Shakespeare's plays. 159 160 Pattinson portrayed Louis, the Dauphin, the nemesis of Henry V. 161 162 For the role, he adopted a French accent, which he modeled after individuals in the French fashion industry. 163 164 While opinions on his accent were mixed, 163 164 critics largely praised his performance, describing it as scene-stealing and a standout in the film. 165 166 He then appeared in Ciro Guerra's Waiting for the Barbarians, 2019, an adaptation of J. M. Coetzee's 1980 novel, alongside Mark Rylance and Johnny Depp. 167 168 His performance received a less enthusiastic response, with Boyd Van Hoge of The Hollywood Reporter calling it a rather flat supporting role, 169 While The Guardian critic Harry Windsor described his portrayal as stiff and over-articulated. 168 2020, present, return to mainstream films. Pattinson looking to his front while smiling. Pattinson at a press conference for Mickey 17 in 2025. Pattinson starred as Neil, a spy handler, in Christopher Nolan's Tenet, 2020, alongside John David Washington, marking his return to big-budget films. 170 He based his character's mannerisms on those of author Christopher Hitchens. 171 172 Jessica Kyang of The New York Times labeled him as delightful and praised his chemistry with Washington. 170 Pattinson next featured as part of an ensemble cast in The Devil All the Time, 2020, a psychological thriller based on the novel by Donald Ray Pollock. 173 The film is set in the 1950s, and Pattinson played a lewd small-town preacher named Preston Teagerton. 174 Austin Cullen, writing for Rolling Stone, found him eerie, and intriguing, 175 While Owen Gleiberman of Variety praised him for doing a stylish job. 176 In May 2021, Pattinson signed a first-look deal with Warner Bros. And HBO for producing and developing projects. 177 Pattinson portrayed Batman and his secret alter ego Bruce Wayne in Matt Reeves's 2022 superhero film The Batman. 178 Following Ben Affleck's departure from the role, Reeves wrote the character with Pattinson in mind after being impressed by his performance in Good Time. 179 The film was a critical and commercial success, though Pattinson's casting initially faced backlash from some Batman fans. 180 However, his portrayal was ultimately praised by critics upon the film's release, with Davis Rooney of The Hollywood Reporter finding him riveting throughout. 181 In 2023, Pattinson lent his voice to the titular Grey Heron in the English-language dub of Hayao Miyazaki's Japanese animated film The Boy and the Heron. 182 Under his production company Iki Ennio Arlo, Pattinson produced Sebastian Silva's critically successful film Rotting in the Sun, 2023. 183 In 2025, Pattinson starred in Bong Joon-ho's science fiction film Mickey 17, an adaptation of the novel Mickey 7, 2022. 184 He portrayed Mickey Barnes, a disposable crew member on a space mission who is assigned perilous tasks, as he can be regenerated upon death while retaining most of his memories. 185 186 The film received mostly positive reviews, with most of the focus on Pattinson's performance as dual versions of the same character. In his review for IndieWire, David Ehrlich described it as two of the best performances of his life here. 187 Pattinson starred alongside Jennifer Lawrence in the thriller Die, My Love, 2025, portraying her husband. 188 189 Vogue's Radhika thought that both he and Lawrence were wholly committed, but were let down by a poor script. 190 While Gleiberman said that in a rare bad performance, Pattinson plays Jackson as an unpleasant clueless bro. 191. Pattinson is next set to appear alongside Zendaya in the romantic drama The Drama. 192 He will produce and star as a crime investigating journalist in primetime. 193 And will play the antagonist in Denis Villeneuve's concluding part of Dune film trilogy, Dune, Part 3. 194 195 196 Pattinson will also reunite with Nolan for the epic film The Odyssey, 2026. 197 He is due to reprise his role as Batman in The Batman, Part 2. 198 And was cast in the Fernando Meirelles heist film Here Comes the Flood. 199. Other ventures. Modeling and endorsements. Pattinson with a stern look on his face looking towards a camera. Pattinson in Dior Homme at the 2017 Berlin International Film Festival. Pattinson began modeling at age 12 and continued for about 4 years. 200 In a December 2008 interview with Closer, he blamed the lack of modeling work on his masculine appearance. When I first started I was quite tall and looked like a girl, so I got lots of jobs, because it was during that period where the androgynous look was cool. Then, I guess, I became too much of a guy, so I never got any more jobs. I had the most unsuccessful modeling career. 201 Pattinson modeled for various British teen magazines as well as the Hackett clothing line and designer Nicole Farai. 1820 In November 2010, Pattinson was offered a £1 million deal to become the face of Berbera but declined the offer. 202. In June 2013, Pattinson was announced as the new face of Dior Homme fragrance. 203 204 That September, he appeared in a black and white short film alongside French-American model Camille Rowe. 205 Since then, he has featured in multiple television and print advertising campaigns for the fragrance, collaborating with directors Romain Gavras 206 and The Blaze 207 as well as photographers Peter Lindbergh 208 Nan Goldin 206 and Mikhail Janssen. 209 Goldin also published the book Robert Pattinson, 1000 Lives, a collection of images from the 2013 campaign. 206 In February 2016, Pattinson became the first ambassador for Dior Homme menswear 210 and appeared in several of the brand's print campaigns, photographed by Karl Lagerfeld 211 and Lindbergh. 208 Reflecting on his nearly decade-long collaboration with Dior in 2020, Pattinson remarked that there's a timelessness to Dior, it feels like it's going to be around forever, it's a sort of monument. 212. Music. Pattinson has been playing the guitar and piano since the age of 4 and often writes his own music. 213 214 He lent his vocals to 2 songs on the Twilight soundtrack, Never Think, which he co-wrote with Sam Bradley 215 and Let Me Sign, written by Marcus Foster and Bobby Long. 216 Director Catherine Hardwicke had included his recordings in an early cut of the film without his knowledge, but Pattinson later agreed that one of them specifically, really made the scene better. 217 218 He also performed 3 original songs, composed by Joe Hastings, for the How to Be soundtrack. 219 220 Despite his musical talent, Pattinson has said, I've never really recorded anything, I just played in pubs and stuff, and when asked about pursuing a professional music career, he remarked that music is my backup plan if acting fails. 218 In 2010, he was recognized as Hollywood's most influential top unexpected musician by the National Association of Music Merchants. 221. In 2013, Pattinson played guitar on Birds, a track from Death Grip's album Government Plates. 223 drummer Zach Hill recorded Pattinson's playing on his phone during a jam session and later sampled it into the final song. 224 In a March 2017 interview, Pattinson revealed that he would contribute music to his upcoming film Damsel, 2018. 225 In February 2019, he collaborated with the Nottingham band Tindersticks, releasing the song Willow for the High Life original soundtrack. 227 In October 2020, Pattinson made a cameo appearance during Haim's performance of 3 AM on Late Night with Seth Meyers. 229 He delivered the song's opening spoken word section via a FaceTime video call, reciting the dialogue from the track's phone call intro. 231 Philanthropy. Pattinson actively supports ECPAT UK's Stop Sex Trafficking of Children and Young People campaign. 232 At the 2009 Cannes Film Festival AMFAR event, he helped raise $56,000 for the cause. 233 Pattinson participated in the Hope for Haiti Now, a global benefit for earthquake relief charity telethon in January 2010. 235 For the Go campaign, he raised $80,000 by auctioning a Breaking Dawn set visit and later, a private screening of the Twilight saga, Breaking Dawn, Part 1, 2011.